Hello everyone. I'm here live with Mr. Boots for today's Melissa's Musing. So today we're talking about failure, a topic I know we've chatted about before, but I thought this was interesting because I saw this quote from Winston Churchill and it really made me think. It's not necessarily how I define success. We can get into that another day. But the quote itself really got me thinking, and it allowed me to shift when we had something happen this week. We had a major failure. So the quote I just love, and I'm going to read it to you guys right now. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. That's huge. It's really hard to be super enthusiastic when you've just had a major failure. Just like when that shit happens, it's really difficult. So I get it. So how do we shift when we fail, right? It's so easy to kind of wallow in that pity of self-despair and like, why me? And how is this happening? And why? But instead we can totally shift. And if we start to recognize that our failures are actually really awesome things in our life, we can use them to further ourselves and learn and succeed. And so Winston Churchill's definition of success here, success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. That is huge because really, to be successful, you are going to face dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands or millions of failures. And that is absolutely the truth. I have failed more times than I can even mentally fathom. I seriously wish I had $1 for every time I failed because I'd probably be pretty well off right now. But that's the fantastic part about failure because each time it happens, I learn something and I'm able to evaluate what I learned from it. So, becoming successful, you're going to fail. So I encourage you, when failure comes, establish how you're going to react to it. Decide how you're going to take that failure and what you're going to do with it. And you can either use it to benefit you and further you, or you can let it set you back. And that choice is ultimately and totally up to you. So this past week, John and I had kind of a little bit of a bummer situation. We have a transaction falling out this weekend. And we're pretty close to the end of the road, and it's not seeming promising. And we could totally wallow in self-despair and really get ourselves into kind of a negative mindset around it. And, it's a serious bummer. Serious bummer. We're less than a week from closing. However, totally get to shift out of this, right? So it happened, and I was like, all right, what comes next? Where's our next deal coming from? How can we get this one back on market? How can we find the next buyer? How, who, what, where, when, can, blah, 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 blah. Just what comes next? What comes next? I'm not going to let it hold me back. So I encourage you guys, when you face failures, try to not let them suck your enthusiasm. Instead, let them fuel your fire. There is no reason that you need to just be like, Granted, I understand that is the feeling because all the time I just want to crawl into a corner and be like, boo. This really blows. But instead, I get to totally shift when failures happen, and I get to learn from my mistakes, and I get to continually learn to master moving on to the next failure with no lack of enthusiasm. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. Nope, I don't know if anybody joined in out there, but it's a Saturday evening, so I know this was a long shot. It was just weighing on my mind. I've been experiencing lots of failures lately, and I know that they happen, and I know how crippling they can be. So don't let that happen. You get to choose how your failures affect you. So I love you guys. Hope you're having a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.